Thank you for joining us today to learn a little bit about continuous feedback and goals. We appreciate you giving us a little bit of your time this morning. I'm Madeline Hernandez, Product Marketing here at Brilliant HR, and my ability falls and lies in the talent management arena. This speed session will show how continuous feedback and goal-based performance management strategies can quickly and easily drive employee development, consistency, and engagement in your organization. This modern approach is a key strategy for businesses with employees working on many things in a given time. During this session, you'll learn how to leverage Deltek's talent management continuous feedback capabilities, how to drive productive performance management conversations between employees and managers, and how to use goal setting to consistently drive employee engagement. Continuous feedback includes ongoing feedback between two or more parties where active discussions are held in order to provide opportunities to check in, keep track of the progress the employee is making, build relationships, foster innovation and creativity, and address action items or issues that have been identified. These meaningful continuous feedback sessions can focus in on many different aspects of performance, including initial feedback when a new hire joins the company, general check-ins throughout the year, project-based feedback around an employee's involvement in a project or initiative, growth opportunities for an employee, tracking progress towards goals, salary discussions, and performance review discussions. According to Gallup, only 30% of employees strongly agree that in the last 6 months, someone at work has talked to them about their progress. Also, people aren't motivated by the outdated annual performance review. 21% of employees strongly agree that their performance is managed in a way that motivates them to do outstanding work. And only 19% of millennials say they receive routine feedback from their manager. An even smaller percentage, 17%, say the feedback they do receive is meaningful. As managers and leaders, one of our top priorities is to maximize the output, productivity, and efficiency of our departments. We know a key to that is retained, engaged employees who know what we do and how we do it. So why are we not talking to our employees more regularly? Even in cases where feedback is being provided, there are often issues with the quality of that feedback. Managers can be biased, and this can come across as inconsistency and favoritism, both in regards to the quality of feedback, the quantity of feedback, and how frequently that employee is getting feedback. Also, feedback can be untimely, irrelevant, and lacking specifics if it isn't given at the right point, such as the employee's end of engagement in a project. Many managers and employees also experience fear and discomfort around feedback discussions. This could include fear of who we're dealing with and what their possible reaction might be, and the fear of the conversation and topics that might be covered. Some managers also fear the effect of discussions on their popularity and are especially uncomfortable with being direct or critical. All of these are much easier and more comfortable discussions when it's relevant and timely. And if you keep it objective, this should limit concerns about being popular or critical as well. With this in mind, let's take a look at some best practices and how these can assist with more timely feedback. As with many processes, preparation is an important aspect of success. Part of this training is to ensure that both managers and employees understand the short and long-term purposes of feedback sessions. There should be a clear reason why this meeting is being held. Have an agenda, have set goals for the meeting, and never just meet for the sake of meeting. Also, keep employees engaged by asking them to drive, giving them some control over their goals, their development, and their outcomes. As with many processes, preparation is an important aspect of success. When a session is taking place, start by reviewing the purpose of the meetings, along with prior meeting notes, key wins, and noteworthy challenges since the previous meeting, and progress to date on development and goals that have been established. Make sure that as a part of the core discussion, managers and employees are as forward-facing and open as possible. Part of this discussion should look at the past and discuss past concerns and issues and what they learned from them, but the larger focus should be on how to move forward and what the future development and goals can be. At the end of each session, make sure to review the topics that have been discussed, along with action items, takeaways, and expectations of progress before the next meeting. And make sure you do these for all employees, even remote workers. While holding these sessions, keep the interpersonal aspects in mind. Managers can help their employees be involved by being on the receiving end more than the giving, by being ready only to steer, like assisting from the front passenger seat, rather than do everything for the employee. Practice active listening with the intent to understand, not just waiting for your turn to talk. And use the time to build and strengthen relationships. Energize and motivating employees by making sure each session is personalized to that specific employee. Know your employees and how to make sure that they get what they need from each session. The Deltek Performance Solution aids in the scheduling and tracking of continuous feedback. Managers or employees can set up continuous feedback sessions with a proposed date, purpose, and notes, which the other can then accept. Comments from both parties can be tracked, including signatures with notes, once the session has been held. All recorded sessions are tracked. Continuous feedback can fit into any performance process, whether you use traditional performance review cycles or want to focus specifically on continuous feedback and goals. There's still a place for traditional appraisals with manageable workflows to help align processes and include continuous feedback. Continuous feedback can work beautifully in conjunction with appraisal cycles. It doesn't have to replace them. Continuous feedback enhances communication, helps break the cycle up, giving opportunities to keep parties in sync, maintain goal momentum, and eliminate roadblocks. Within Deltek Talent Performance, you can access continuous feedback information within the traditional annual review. There are many uses for feedback discussions in combinations with goals, whether you keep these with one-on-one discussions or include multiple parties. Incorporating more frequent touch points can help move the needle when goals are set appropriately and reviewed regularly. Our solution enables managers and employees to set SMART goals through a wizard-driven process, along with the ability to update goal progress throughout the year. You can also log continuous feedback sessions related to goal development and progress. So how can you make this a regular part of your process? We'll cover some common scenarios, along with recommendations on how frequently to hold these sessions and recommended length of continuous feedback sessions. First, let's take a look at using continuous feedback along with continuous goal management. In this scenario, we can take a look at each of the different types of sessions you might want to have with employees. For example, we might hold our initial feedback with the employee during week 1, general check-in at a regular frequency, goals every 30 days or so as needed, and so on. You may need to have higher frequency initially, such as with a new employee, new project, or new goals. If we dive into this deeper, we can use these recommendations to form a schedule for when we will meet with each employee and see some recommended times for these meetings. Again, starting with the initial session for 60 minutes, general check-ins for goals are 30 minutes, and so forth. This chart shows another way to look at the schedule. Take note of the ongoing arrow at the end to show that this should continue over time. If you add up the time spent in this scenario per employee, this time comes to about 5.5 hours over a 6-month period. With reporting, you can easily find how much time your managers are spending on continuous feedback to see how time is dedicated to continuous feedback across employees. We can also review in relation to a traditional annual or semi-annual appraisal. Again, we can see this adds up to about 5.5 hours per employee over a 6-month period. In each of these scenarios, the manager spends less than 1 day per employee in 6 months on continuous feedback. If the manager has 10 employees, this ends up being less than 7 days total in a 6-month period, leaving 5 3/4 months or 95% of our time open for work. Not only does this process not require a large input of time, it also has payoffs for various members of the organization. Effective coaches have 3 times as many employees who are willing to go the extra mile. Leaders in the 98th percentile for coaching have employees in the 88th percentile in commitment. Over 60% of employees with poor coaches as leaders are thinking of quitting. So by helping managers get better at continuous feedback, you can help to reduce these departures. Some key points to keep in mind for finance are that you want to pay for a product that's providing ROI and that helps you move the needle. Continuous feedback helps us measure continuous improvement. Goal-based and project-based continuous feedback discussions produce results in actionable data that you can report or act on, and this helps drive more objectivity and feel more comfortable with the results that equate with salary increases and bonus-based discussions. Benefits for human resources include continuous feedback, fostering consistency and communication across the organization. Continuous feedback keeps parties in lockstep and increases awareness, understanding, and empathy. There's also better buy-in organizationally, and continuous feedback can accompany your current appraisal cycle and drive communication or be used with continuous goal management. For managers, continuous feedback aids with timely, relevant, and specific conversations that should be or already are happening with employees. It engages and retains staff, reducing turnover and malcontent. Keeping in mind that in the absence of information, people tend to create their own. So these sessions help distribute information and updates on a regular basis. And it keeps you informed of what employees are working on and what they need. Finally, for employees, timely, relevant, and specific conversations that they should be having or are already having with a manager. This demonstrates that their manager and employer value their perspective, growth, and development, and it keeps their manager informed of their work. As well, it gives an opportunity to request assistance or guidance. Thank you so much for joining today's session. If you have any questions about the information I just presented, please submit them through the box on your screen, and we will get back to you offline. I really appreciate your feedback, conversations, and questions today. As well, I look forward to our next session together. Thank you for your time.